Kyle has been a background actor for over 30 years and is on the verge of his big break. He has been living in Los Angeles all this time, and for the past decade has been living with a drunk old woman for cheap rent. Nearing 90, this woman still continues to get plastered every night and fall asleep in her chair. This week, Kyle has been on a show as background and got his first line. He's also heard that his role is going to be expanding for the next season as a regular on the show. His agent tells him the deal is ready to go and he'll find out next week. In celebratory action, Kyle goes out and gets himself a new BMW, replacing his 25-year-old Honda, and $1,000 in lottery tickets. When he gets home, he greets his landlord and heads to bed. Only good dreams tonight, he says, even though none of the lottery tickets were winners. The next morning, Kyle gets up and is reading the news. To his shock, the show he was on was just canceled. No one called him, he just found out from the news. After putting on a brave face, he heads downstairs to go take the BMW back to the dealership. When he gets downstairs, he calls for his landlord. It looks like she left the door open again. However, as he goes to look closer, disaster has struck again. The old woman is dead on the floor with a bottle of wine still stuck in her hand. Kyle screams out a terrible roar. Why is this happening to me? He is about to call 911 when he stops. Kyle realizes that if he calls 911 and they take her away, he's lost his house and he's already just lost his job. Kyle plops himself on the couch and starts to down beers. That night, Kyle is sitting on the couch again, but the whole house is spotless. The only difference is the chain on the freezer in the garage. You see, Kyle broke that day. No longer letting fate do what it will, Kyle grabbed fate by the horns and said a solemn no. Kyle had put the old woman in the freezer as a temporary solution. He could unfreeze her when he figured it out once he had solid work again. But as evil does, he didn't stop there. Since the old woman had no need of her finances anymore, he started to take a peek into what she had. And oh boy, did she have something. Kyle thought to himself, I've helped her all these years, I do deserve it. So he began to partake. Just a little at first, but it slowly increased. Until one day, 6 months later, the woman's son showed up looking for her. Kyle, a true actor at heart, told the son his rehearsed lines about her being out at either the doctor or the store or one of many other places. But that didn't work this time. The son was pressing for more. Kyle was out one day. The son came into the house searching with no one else there. He found his mother, and when Kyle got back, he saw the police cars around the place, so he ran. Kyle knew a situation like this might happen, and he was almost looking forward to it. He had taken her money and bought himself a 40-foot catamaran and was planning to sail off into the distance one day. Kyle managed to escape the police and was off the coast, away sailing, when the Coast Guard arrived to capture him. Also knowing this moment might come, Kyle stood like Tony Montana on that boat and fired away at the boats and helicopters. Of course, Kyle's boat sank, but they never found his body. When I go to the ocean, I like to think Kyle is still out there, sailing away on another ship to the Philippines.